I can hear it more now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Wild Wisdom Wellbeing guest slot. And today I'm absolutely delighted to have with me the wonderful Beverley Jones of Awaken Coaching, or as it says, Awaken Business Club. Because Bev has a lot of strings to her bow, don't you, Bev?
I do, yeah. When people ask me what I do, it's really difficult to kind of narrow it down, I'm afraid. So, yeah, I keep trying, but it's kind of, I want to share everything, what I do. But my basic of everything I do is to help people, Robin. So whatever slot you got me in, it'll be to help you as best I can.
So you do a lot of work in the corporate world, don't you, having come from that background? So supporting well-being and in a corporate environment, which I think is so important, particularly at this time when, thankfully, we're beginning to ease the lockdown restrictions that we've been under for over a year now, and people are getting back into work to a greater degree. And I know from my brother, when he was furloughed and then brought back into work, that's a hell of a transition, because they brought him back in on a Monday morning and said, right, that's it. You've got your full 9 to 5 plus every day, Monday to Friday, for your first week back. There was no nice gradual easing in. And I loved something that you said on a live with, I think it was Sino Bounds the other day, about how, or was it even your own motivational thing yesterday, about how it takes 21 to 40 days to build a new habit. So we've had over a year of building these habits and being told this is what is going to keep you safe. Wear a mask, keep distanced, stay at home if you possibly can. And now all of a sudden some people are being expected just to, right, that's it, back to work.
Yeah. It's not going to work, you know. It's like I said, it was on my live yesterday about the 34 days, whatever, to get and make a break a habit. And we have been in this for a long time. Our habits are different. You know, you hear of people, how long it takes for somebody to give up smoking, or, if you get into any habit, it takes time to break it. And a lot of people are being expected to break it overnight. But your mind, your consciousness, your whole being is not used to that. It's not used to working in that way or living in that way, but not even being that way. It's just not used to living in that way. So we all need to be gentle with ourselves, and we need to ask our employers to be gentle with us. And if we run our own business, we need to be gentle with ourselves, because we cannot go, doesn't matter where you sit, whether you're 88 like my mum or 5 like somebody going back to school, it doesn't matter where we sit on that, what I like to call rainbow. We really need to take it slowly, and don't judge ourselves too harshly about what we are and what we can and can't achieve, in all honesty.
Or how we're feeling or anything. And we were also saying in that live about not judging ourselves for where we are, but then also not judging somebody else.
Absolutely.
That everybody has their own place. That the important thing is to listen to our bodies, acknowledge and honor where we are, and follow our own pace at what feels right for us, and therefore to allow others to do the same.
Yeah, we have to, we have to live without judgment. We have to live with acceptance. We have to live with kindness, because it's so true, isn't it? There are people out there. I read this ages ago, I think it might have been on Facebook actually, that we're all in the same storm, but we are all in different boats. And those boats are taking us on different journeys. Some of us will just go back out as if nothing has happened and end up going back to pubs or shops or whatever, not even thinking about it. And the day we're told to take our masks off, we'll whip them off. Other people will continue to wear their masks for a long time. I don't know if I'll ever go on the tube without a mask again, if I'm totally honest. I won't use a petrol pump without gloves, for instance, but then I think I don't know why I did before, if I'm totally honest, because it's horrible now. Ooh, get me hand, not because of germs, but because of petrol. You kind of got petrol on your hands, and you go and get in your nice car, or you eat a sandwich or something. You think, oh, actually, that wasn't a great idea before, So, but yeah, we need to live without judgment, but live with acceptance is my big thing, really. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it's a good thing not to judge ourselves for where we might be and think I should be further along the line, or I should be able to cope with this, or any of those sorts of feelings, because we just are where we are. And like you were saying, we have been in this situation for so long now. And they say that to build a new habit is easier and quicker than to break an old one. So it's not even that we just need to return to how we were, because that's not going to be the same anyway, or that we can expect to do it in the matter of days or weeks, but that it is going to take time. And that, to me, the important thing is to be gentle with ourselves and to stay conscious of how am I feeling, and to honor that and to support that. I know that another big thing for you is self-care.
Oh yeah, self-care is huge. You know, if I need to go to sleep, I go to sleep. If I need to drink my water, I drink my water. If I need to go for a walk, I go for a walk. And whatever else happens, you know, I always know when my body and my mind now is telling me this is time to stop. This is what you have to do. You know, right now you just need to sit and rest. And if that's what my body or my mind is telling me, then that's what I do. If I feel that I need to get out at lunchtime and go for a walk, then I go. I might have X amount of emails, but I will go, even if it's just 15 minutes, to get out in the fresh air. So self-care comes in all sorts of forms, you know, from doing a jigsaw to reading a book to drinking more water to eating, you know, the food you eat, the rests you take, the time you spend with quality time with friends and family. You know, all of these things all amount to self-care. And one of the big things that I think we need to learn as well is to be patient with ourselves, you know, and be patient with others, because they say, or Louise Hay says, actually, learn the patience of nature. And that is so true. We don't plant a bulb and it comes up overnight. We don't, you know, we plant a bulb. We don't even stand and watch it grow. We just know that it's going to grow. So we need to learn that patience ourselves and know that it might take us a week, a fortnight, a month, a year to be comfortable with people, to be back out there, to do all those things. And however long it takes on that spectrum is right for you. Might not be right for everyone else, but it's right for you. And don't be pressured into changing. Don't be pressured into, if you don't want to go out and sit in a pub garden because you still don't feel it's right for you, say no. Say no to others and yes to yourself. This is what I should have done more of years ago, and I didn't. I kept saying yes to others.
I was just going to say, we jumped straight in there, really, without talking a lot about your background. So you went through burnout yourself, and that's how you came to be a writer. You wrote a book. So maybe would you tell us a little bit about your journey, just so that people can kind of see the road that you've traveled, and for those of us who are maybe feeling a little bit wrung out at the moment and a little bit depleted, just to really understand from your knowledge of having been through it, how important these things are that you're talking about now.
Yeah, I mean, as Robin said, I've written a book about it, which is called Made It Through the Rain, website. And it's not to push the book. That book is there to help people understand what it's like to go through burnout and what it can actually do to you. Now, my burnout happened, I had a 30-year corporate career. I was a senior manager. I worked for big blue chip companies across London and Dublin and Wales and whatever, until it got to the point where I couldn't do anymore. I was exhausted because I was working in the day, I was working in the evenings, I was checking my emails in the evenings. I was in a really toxic relationship, which I describe as the sort of relationship that everyone else knew was rubbish, but I thought it was great. Been there or know people that have been there. I was going through a situation where I was being bullied at work. It was just, the whole thing was just collapsing basically around me. And it was such a slow burn. It started in around 2007, and I just kept thinking, oh, I'll be okay. I'll be all right. It's just me. Everyone else is coping, so what's wrong with me? Do you know what I mean? And I really kept pushing it away, and my family and my friends just thought that it became my norm. It became my norm to be paranoid. It became my norm to be angry. It became my norm to cry a lot. It became my norm to be tired. It became my norm to just not be me, you know, positive, happy, all of that. It was not the norm anymore. And then I ended up in a situation at work, and I had to go to the doctors, and he just basically said, you're 2 weeks from being hospitalized. You've got burnout. You're clinically depressed, severe anxiety, and you take a sick note now, or in 2 weeks' time you won't be able to, you know. And that started a journey really for me of how burnout then literally came out in, you know, I started self-harm, I went through suicidal thoughts, I had to deal with all of that. But hey, I'm no superhuman, but 10 years on, look at the difference, and I thank God that people were there for me at that time and supported me through that. That's not the same for everyone. I recently lost a friend to suicide, and it's very, very difficult. And it's not a decision taken easy. But what I know is that it's not a decision to end your life. It's a decision to end the pain that you are going through. You don't necessarily want to die, but you don't want to live with what you're going through. Yeah. So that for me was really what it was all about. But I had a friend who was there at 3 o'clock one morning, and thank God, because she made me see what was there for me, and really then I started to turn into somebody who would ask for help, who would go out there and explain exactly what was going on for me. I always say communication is the best medication, and it's so true. Talking, writing, talking, however you communicate is so important. And then really from that time, and people think because people haven't been at work for the last year or not been in offices for the last year, that how is burnout actually happening? Because people have got off that treadmill. Yeah, for me it was a treadmill, it was a hamster wheel, it was something that I had to keep pushing. But for me, I just thought, right, I've got to do things to help myself. And that's what I want to encourage people today, because there is burnout today. People are burning out. There are people who've been working long hours at home, but equally there are people now who have to go back to work that maybe don't want to go back to the office. Maybe they're in a situation they don't want to go back to. And this is all can lead to anxiety and therefore burnout and all of that. So what I literally did around that time was just started to read a lot of books, and I started to understand our thought patterns and what brings our reality, so that actually what I was putting in was coming out. I was putting anxious thoughts in, I was putting annoyance in, I was putting anger in, I was putting hatred in, I was putting all these horrible negative things, and they were all showing. They were all showing. My immune system broke down, life became difficult. And I thought, actually, if I can break this down and start to understand it, maybe there's a chance that I can work through it. So I went for counselling, which was great because of the communication element of that. I did go on medication. I'm not an advocate for medication, but it worked for me. I would suggest anybody goes to the doctor and have a conversation with your medical experts to see. It might not be right for you. It might be right for you. But what I did was have a plan in mind that when I went on the medication, I knew I was going to get off it. Do you know what I mean? So my doctor was great with that. And then I started doing all the wonderful things that you know about. So all the mindfulness stuff and spending time out and about and really kind of looking after myself and practicing a lot of self-care. I still to this day have a book where I write things to do down for the next day. And that was on the advice of my counsellor that said, if you write a to-do list for the next day, you'll have a reason to get up in the morning. And that really helps. And if ever I'm feeling a bit wavy, I think, I haven't done one of those lists for a long time. And so it really helps me to get focused. So I kind of started to change my thought patterns really and work on myself a lot more, practice a lot more self-care to get now where I am today.
So I think being conscious and being aware, like you were saying, reading to get that understanding is such a huge step towards turning things around. Because once you understand that actually we create our own reality to that degree, and that my thoughts create my beliefs, create my filters, create my experience. That's how I interpret what happens around me. Yeah. And it can be very interesting to look at siblings or couples who are living in the same setting and having a lot of the same experiences, but interpreting them maybe very, very differently, and how that impacts on how they feel about things.
Yeah. I mean, I literally stripped everything back. I mean, my life today is very stripped back. I don't have, I've run my own business for 10 years. I always said I didn't want to go back into the corporate world as an employee. I now work with a lot of large companies and organizations to help them with the well-being of their teams and the strategies around those well-beings. And I produce videos that they can share with their teams and blogs and books and whatever it is to help people. But then I run, as you said, the Awaken Business Club, and which is, it's not just helping small businesses to set up and grow, it's helping with the sleepless nights. It's helping with the stresses of not finding that client. It's helping you with where's the next payday going to come from. Do you know what I mean? Because I was there. I'm my ICA, if I'm honest. I am my own ICA because I know what it was like to be in those situations when you needed help and you couldn't afford that help. You know, I fell into debt in a big way. I didn't have any money coming in, and I had more outgoings than I had incomings. So I sold my flat. I went into rented accommodation. I just did loads of things to really start to reevaluate my life. And then I was really fortunate because I met the guy I'm with now. The other relationship thankfully finished 2 days before Christmas 2009. And I always say it was the best Christmas present he ever gave me, was walking away, if I'm totally honest. Because I'm back now, you know, with Mike, who was my first boyfriend when I was 17. But he's been a massive support. You know, he's there, he's very laid back, he's very kind of like somebody that if I'm anxious, he knows that's fine, we can kind of deal with that, you know, what's going on and what's the matter, and tell me about it. But we live, you know, I'm not materialistic in any way. I don't, whereas years ago, when I was in the corporate world, when I think of the money I could have had, yeah, terrible. I had new trainers every week. I had the best phone, the best TV. Do you know what I mean? I was really quite materialistic looking back. And now there's one materialistic thing in my life, and anyone who knows me knows it's my Mercedes, so I'm not going to go on about it. But yeah.
But what a great way to celebrate 10 years in your own business, having come from where, you know, that place of burnout and wondering was there a point in life, to being here where you are now, celebrating 10 years, which is an amazing achievement, really, isn't it? And getting the Mercedes that you had as your vision for all of that time. Just goes to show, I think, that anybody can can turn things around from where they are. That there is always, even though we feel maybe hopeless, powerless, there is still the opportunity if we can just find it and just trust and take it one step at a time. Trust in ourselves that we can do this.
It's having that faith. You know, you're right. You know, there's a great saying, isn't there, that fear knocked on the door, and when I answered it, there was no one there. You know, because that's what faith is. Faith is just about, look, you know, believe in yourself, know that you can do it. I mean, over the years, people used to say, when you get your Mercedes, when you get your Mercedes, and I used to say, you know, I'll get it when the time is right, when divine timing steps in. But I would like to think that I will get it by the end of my 10 years to celebrate my 10 years in business. And when COVID happened, you know, I was like, all right, that's not going to happen then. So I kind of took, you know, I do what I tell other people, let go, just surrender it. It was what it was, you know. And then, in October, just things transpired and it worked out to the point where, you know, I've now got the Mercedes, and it really is the only materialistic thing in my life, and anyone that knows me will know that. You know, I don't crave £1 million or anything. You know, for me, it's the health of my family and my friends, and, you know,
health is important to me.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Thank God we've all come through this, you know, and we're healthy and able to go forward. And
I love how you said that you hit, you know, we all hit COVID and you thought, well, it's not going to happen this year. And that took the pressure off. And I think that quite often when we are wanting to manifest something, we're wanting to achieve that vision, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves.
Yeah, we do.
And in the end, it actually kind of gets in our way, those expectations, those shoulds. And the fact that as well, people were asking you, when are you going to? It would be so easy, wouldn't it? Just go, I haven't managed it yet, and beat ourselves up as we so often do. But when we can just go, yeah, that'll happen when it'll happen. I know that it's there for me in the future at some point, taking that pressure off. And then things just fall into place, don't they? We think it's falling apart, but no, it fell into place.
Fell totally into place. You know, I mean, I do vision boards, as you know, and I love vision boards. And I've just actually yesterday launched a new book, which I haven't really told, you know what I do. I just put it out there and it's there. But I've written a book and got it sorted finally on the weekend and finished it, which is seven steps to manifestation, from vision to reality. And I share my stories because it's not just the Mercedes that I'm not superhuman, but it's not just my Mercedes. Again, people who know me, I got engaged at Christmas. Do you know what I mean? I've been with Mike for 10 years. It was always part of my life, and I wanted to cement, if you like, that relationship since I was 17, if I'm honest. But we weren't together for years. But that happened at Christmas. When I was 12, I wanted to go and live in Ireland, and I did. And when I was, my Mercedes has been a goal and a dream since I was 12. And I just knew that one day it would happen. And I'm not, as I would say when I tell people this, so think about this. It's not, some people say let go, let God, but a lot of people use let go, let the universe. And I'm not here to preach religion or anything else. You can use whichever form you want, but just let go. Just allow whatever it is to unfold, to happen in that divine timing, and to know that, you're going to be okay. And that's was what I had to learn all those years ago. I had to learn or relearn what I knew as a child, that actually it was going to be okay. I would always be provided for. There was always something going to be out there to help me and support me and all of that stuff. And so that's how it happened. And that's how I run my business. That's how I help other people. I don't pressure people. I don't push people. If you want to work with me, I'm there for you to work with, and I'm happy to help you. And that's how it is. It's as simple as that. Don't stress the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff, and keep it simple. My two mottos. And be kind.
And I love that simplicity as well, keeping things simple, because I think things are just simple. They just tick along by themselves, like you were talking about earlier, the adopting the pace of nature. Because look at nature. Nature, we don't do anything to nature. Nature just goes along. Nothing hurries, and yet everything gets achieved in its own time. And we look at each year, and each year the timing is different, but it still all gets done.
Yeah, absolutely. The autumn, the leaves, the colour of the leaves, they change when they're ready to change. Sometimes they're November, sometimes it's September. You plant a bulb, sometimes it will shoot up if the weather conditions are right, sometimes it will take longer. Snowdrops always appear around just after Christmas. You always get all those things. So if you allow your life to just unfold like that, it is so much easier than pushing and stressing and panicking and all of that. It just creates a terrible, terrible place inside here that you don't need, and your immune system then reacts and everything shuts down, and you can't be, you just lose all of sense of stuff, really. But I think just keeping it simple. I mean, my other half is great. I say to him, when's this all going to end? When can I go back out to the shop? When can I go and visit friends? And he's like, it'll be when it'll be.
Yeah.
And that's
which can either be so frustrating.
It can be frustrating, but he's a farmer. He works in farming. He's a farmer. And so for him, that's how he has to live. Life is what it is, and it will unfold as it's meant to unfold. And his view was always, if people just slowed down and stopped a while and watched the world go by, life would be so much simpler for so many more people.
Yeah. You're right. We do make it hard for ourselves because we push and we strive. But if we could adopt the pace of nature and just, let's just see how this goes, and let's just be open and curious, and then I will see the opportunities that come my way, versus I'm pushing and I'm blinkered. The door is closing, and all I'm seeing is the closing door, not the window that's opening.
Absolutely. That's a great analogy. Yeah. And that is exactly it. Let's just all let go of it. There are people that will be millionaires. There will be people that won't have much money. There will be people in the middle. That is life. And whatever bracket we fall into, we are not going to make it any easier for ourselves by pushing and shoving. And, it's like, if you are, whichever one you're in, there's some very unhappy millionaires out there. Do you know what I mean? So really, if you're down here and you haven't got much money, but you've got your health, you've got your friends, you've got your family, you've got a business that's ticking over, I've been in business 10 years. I'm not a millionaire, and nor do I profess to be. I'm a millionaire in my life. There isn't a millionaire out there that could afford the life I've got. I always say that to people. You couldn't buy my life. It doesn't matter how rich you
That's
are.
true.
You know, and just be happy with that. Be happy in what you have today, with the simple, everyday things that you have around you, and be grateful for those. Because the more you're grateful for, the more you get to be grateful for, if that makes sense. The more things come to you to be grateful for.
Because whatever vibration you've got going in your life, you attract more of that. So if you've got a vibration of gratitude, whoa, more stuff that you can be thankful for comes into your life. But if you've got a vibration of anger, resentment, more of that comes into your life too.
Yeah. And it is the thing, you know, if I speak to business owners, and you know, they're very much around, not every one of them, but some people are very much, you know, I need that next client, I need more money in the bank, I need this, I want that one. And I'm like, just let it go and it will come in. You know, just let that go, because the universe delivers more of what you're concentrating on. So if you're concentrating on lack, you will have more lack, because it thinks, well, that's what you think about, that's what you enjoy, and that's what's part of your thing. Just let go of any needs and just say, do you know what, this is how much I need, this much money to come in every month, or I need this many clients going, and then just let it all unfold. I know it sounds simple, I know, right? But trust me, I've done it both ways, and the one that causes less stress and the one that keeps it more flowing is the one where you can kind of step back and let it just all go, and it all comes to you.
And the one that you enjoy as well. Because if you're pushing and striving, you're not really enjoying life, are you? And you're not able to appreciate the things that you have. Yeah. So the more we appreciate the things that we have, the more we enjoy it, the more that comes in.
Yeah.
It's so true.
That's true.
I think to come to that realization that the universe actually is working towards more, you know, we're wanting to survive. That's a natural aspect of all living beings. Life wants more life. So the universe is there supporting that.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah, it doesn't want to pull you down. It doesn't want to, you know, for things to just fall apart for you. It wants things to come together. It wants to support you. It's a positive force in our lives. So when we can actually come to that realization, then we don't need to push anymore.
No, we don't. I mean, I've got friends who say to me, you're so lucky. You know, if you want this car parking space outside this particular shop, you always get it, and I don't. Or, you know, you always seem to have, if you want something, it always happens. And the reason for that is I just go, I'm going to X shop and I need to park outside in a hurry. I don't expect anything less, Robin. Do you know what I mean? The parking space to be there. I don't put the expectation there. I just say it in my head that this is what I believe. And then that's what will happen. And that has happened for so much in my life. I've just said, oh, yeah, I'd like to do that one day. Or, oh, I really like those shoes. And then by some, I don't know, the universe or whatever, it finds a way of delivering that. But I don't have high expectations. But I just have expectations that things are always going to be okay. You know, if I can't park outside the shop, it's probably because I meant to get off my backside and go for a walk.
My mum is, in our family, she's the parking angel. She always gets the spot. And she's the same. So I'm very fortunate in that is something that I wouldn't say she was like that always, but she learnt that because she went on her journey. And that's something that she will definitely believe and talk about, and like, well, why would it be any other way? Of course.
Exactly. Why is it any other way? You know, like I said, when I was 17, Mike and I were together, and over the years, a lot of people that I've met through those years, when I've been living in Ireland and whatever, when Mike and I got together, actually said to me, oh, you always used to talk about Mike. You always used to say, do you know what, if every man I met was anything like my first boyfriend, then life would be so much simpler. And I used to think, did I really say that? I don't know. He turned up back beside my life one night outside the chip shop. Do you know what I mean? So you just don't know. You just don't know. And I mean, as I said to you before, you know, that the last kind of on the back of my book, it says, you know, that an ordinary life can become extraordinary, and experience can indeed be the greatest gift. And that's what we need to look at. You know, don't regret anything. Just look back at your experience and go, do you know what, actually, that was all right. I've kind of come out of that, and this is what's happened. There's a great guy called Richard Wilkins, and I always attribute this quote to him because I love it. And he says, use your past as a library, not a home. How true is that? Go in, dip in, get a book, have a look. What did you learn in that lesson from that? Take it forward, but live now going forward with joy, and know that, you know, you can turn whatever situation you are in, you can turn it around. But the key is to talk about it if you're stuck. That's my big thing, really.
Yeah, and to be open and curious rather than beat ourselves up that I got myself into this situation or I can't get myself out of this situation, but more just to, that's interesting. I wonder why that's happening. And I wonder, like you're saying, for me as well, it's, that's happened. That wouldn't have been my first choice. Okay, I wonder why it's happened. I wonder what the learning in that might be or what I can discover in myself. I think that the whole COVID situation and the pause that we were put into with lockdown was a great opportunity for just, okay, take a moment, take a breath. Let's just have a think. What is this bringing up for me? Because I've met so many people who've been saying, wow, I hadn't realized how busy I was. I hadn't realized how much I was on that treadmill that you mentioned earlier until the world stopped. Yeah. And I had to stop with it. And all of a sudden I realized I hadn't been taking time to go for a walk. I hadn't been taking time to smell the flowers, as we were talking about earlier. Yeah. Or as my mom would say, feed the ducks. And now I'm realizing, you know, I can take time to exercise. I can take time to go for that walk in the middle of the day. So you were saying about how we think of burnout as being something to do with working in an office and being worked very hard. But also I'm hearing now that as we've got used to lockdown and life has pivoted, life has gone online, that there's a new kind of a new way of getting burnt out, that people are now not having to travel between meetings. So before, even if it was just that you got up off your chair and you walked to another room, or you got into your car and you drove to a whole different site, we would have those gaps in between. Yeah. Or we would have, as well, I did a live a while ago about bookending our day. We would have the drive to the office, we would have the drive home. So the kind of get in gear for office, get back into gear for home, wind down, rest, leave things in the office and come home and have a separate space. Whereas now, as one person said to me, there's my office, 2 steps, there's my sofa and my television and my evening. There is...
That's the thing, yeah. That's what's causing it. You know, I said to some people recently, you know, I look at my boxes of shoes because I have a lot of shoes. If I'm materialistic, other than the Mercedes shoes would be it. And I think I just want to wear a different pair of shoes. I want to wear my high shoes. I want to wear these shoes. I don't want to keep wearing my boots and my trainers. You know, I don't want to get up in the morning and just put on my casual clothes and just, you know, obviously look all right if you're on Zoom. And then breathing the same thing. You know, for me, I had my work outfit, my office wardrobe that I used to go to work in, you know, and stuff like that. And I'm back in my office now 3 days a week, which I love, but I need to be going out with people because I didn't realise how much I love people, I have to say. I knew I loved them, but not quite as much. So the hugs are going to be plentiful for anybody who meets me over the next year. You will get a hug, whether you're a huggy person or not. Sorry, it's irrelevant to me. Do you know what I mean? It's irrelevant. I'm going to hug you. But there's all these little things that actually, and that's what's causing burnout, is that stress of actually, you know, we're working longer hours because we're stuck in front of our computer. We're going from one meeting to another meeting to another meeting. We're getting screen blindness. You know, we're not giving our brains and our head any break at all. We can go straight from our screen to our TV or our phone or whatever. We need to stop doing that. We need to read. We need to do jigsaws. We need to become creative and need to do other things. We need to have conversations, you know, it's a human need, isn't it? And so much we're pushing it away. And that's why burnout now is becoming a problem with everything going on, really.
Yeah, at the beginning of lockdown, that was more people were doing gardening and going walks and all of those things because we had the beautiful weather. It was the right time of year in this hemisphere. And if you were furloughed, you had more time on your hands. But it seems to have swung the other way now, where whether everybody's feeling we have to play catch up for all that time that we lost, and there's the opportunity now just to have back-to-back meetings. I'm hearing of some people who they don't get a lunch break. They're worried if they need a pee and they have to nip to the bathroom. It's really got like working in a call center, and we all know how stressful that can be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even though I'm in the office 3 days a week, I tend to go out for a walk lunchtime. Do you know what I mean? I'll just take myself off and walk around the block, give myself, plenty of time, the scope. I don't drink really during the day apart from water. That's it. I tend to keep, well, I never have caffeine because caffeine is so bad for anxiety. So I never, ever touch caffeine at all. I learned that to my detriment. But yeah, it is all these little things. We just need to take a step back and say, do you know what? It's all right to turn off my computer, to go for a walk at lunchtime, and even when you go back to the office, don't lose those habits. If you used to go for a walk at lunchtime when you were at home, well, go for a walk at lunchtime when you're in the office, even if it's around the block. But do something, do something to help yourself and practice that self-care. Because the other thing people are missing at the moment a lot is like their work buddies. You might not see these people outside work, but you see them at the water cooler, you see them at the coffee machine, you see them at the photocopier, and there's always like, oh, how are you doing? Or how's your mum? I'm sorry to hear this happened. Or how's your baby, brother's baby, or whatever it is. We just get on a Zoom call and straight into work mode. Yeah, we don't have those light-hearted conversations anymore. So I encourage people, pick up the phone once a week and talk to a work buddy about something other than work, just to have that chat. So
yes, to have that human connection, not just the work connection, but the human connection. If we're not getting it face to face anymore, we still need to have it. We are social beings. We need that as part of our well-being and part of the work-life balance, really.
Yeah, absolutely. That is part of that. I always turn that round. I never say work-life balance. I always say life-work balance. I always really consciously put it round in my head because I think it's important. I think we look at our life balance. We work to, I'm getting nearer retirement age, so I go further down the line. But, you've just got to, you work for a certain section of your life. Don't make it your be-all and end-all of everything, whether you're in business or corporate or whatever you're doing as a job. You have a life outside of that. And that is the life to be enjoyed. That is the life to live. That is the life to, we all have 86,400 seconds in a day. It's about making sure we're mindful of that and we make the best of every second we have. Yes, we've got to work. We've got to earn money, we have to earn money. I'm not saying we don't have to earn money because we do. But if we've got enough money to have to service our basic needs, so food, roof over our head, and all the basic things you need, and those basics are different for different people. I'm not saying that it's right to be rich or not rich or whatever. What I'm saying is just make sure you cover those first, and then start to look at your life around that. And how can it be simpler if you need to make it simpler? Because it's that pushing and that shoving and that wanting more that just churns up, and in the end, for me, cause burnout. I'm not saying it does for everyone, but for me, that's what happened.
And I think also listening to your body as to this job that I'm in, how can it be not just a job, but a life? So that if you're in the corporate and it's not ticking your boxes, it's not floating your boat, it's not making your heart sing, then either find a way that it can. Maybe it's other stuff that's going on that's impacting your thoughts and your beliefs that's making it that you're striving in that job. Is there a way that you can thrive in that job? Or actually, are you feeling like a square peg in a round hole, and something else, maybe running your own business, would be the right choice for you? That means that you have a job that you love, a job that it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah. You'll turn a hobby into a job and you'll never work another day in your life. That's what they say. And, I think if you can take that, if you are I loved my corporate career. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely loved it. I worked for Kodak for a long time, which was an amazing company, and it was brilliant. I've still got friends from there now today, 20 odd years on. But it was all about always enjoying going to work. You know, if you're not enjoying going to work, if there's something that's nagging at you and you're not enjoying it, then please do something about it. If you're in a managerial role and you don't feel that managerial role is for you, there's no shame in turning up and going, you know what, actually, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to just trim back my life. I'm going to try and look for something that feeds my soul a little bit more, you know, because that's what it's all about. We need to get up in the morning and, like I said, it says on my little sign on my wardrobe door, make today so awesome that yesterday gets jealous. You know, that's what we should be doing every day. It's no matter what you're doing, but make each day count, you know, and if you're not doing that, then please reach out. Not necessarily to me, but there's loads of people out there. There's career coaches, there's confidence coaches. I am around if you need to chat, you know. Robin's around. We're all here to just help each other and support each other. There's nothing worse than being alone with something and you think that is the only way, because there isn't only one way. There isn't.
Right. So true. And I think if anybody is watching and wondering, well, how do I do that? I can't see a way to make a change, and I kind of get what you're talking about, thoughts and beliefs, but I don't know how to change them. I feel completely and utterly stuck or lost or whatever it is. Then do please reach out or message myself, message Bev, message somebody that you know and trust, and just reach out, because I think as well that's a really important message, that isn't weak. That is really strong to do something like that. And to never get to the point of thinking that it's not possible. And if you are at that point, trust that it is possible and do reach out, because, I mean, if it's possible to turn around from burnout to owning a Mercedes and running your own business in 10 years, then...
And having a great life.
Yeah, and having a great life and enjoying your life. And for all of those things, those pieces that were not fitting together well 10 years ago, they're now coming together. Relationship, work, Mercedes, home, all of these things come together for you. That just goes to show that it really is possible, that all you need to do is take that leap of faith.
It is. And, you know, I said to people, I'm no superhuman. There's an anonymous quote, which is I put in the front of my book, and it says, depression isn't a sign of weakness. It's just a sign of being strong for too long. And I believe that. I believe that in the end, it will burn you out. You know, if you are a round peg in a square hole, burnout or something will happen, and it'll force you to make a change, which is what it did with me. It forced me to make those changes, and I'm now back where I was many years ago. You know, with that simplicity of life and understanding all of that. And that's all I want for everybody, whether you work with me in the corporate world, or whether you're a member of my business club or the community group, you know, on Facebook, wherever you are. If you're within and you know me, you'll know that's all I want for you as well. I only want for you what you want for yourselves. So, yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, definitely. It's just about letting people know that there is hope, and that whatever you want in life, it is possible if you just trust and just take those steps. And as well to know that the steps don't have to be big and complex. They're just small steps taken consistently. I think that sometimes as human beings, we want things to be big and we want them to be complex because our problems feel big and complex. But actually, underneath it all, it is incredibly simple. And then we think it's too simple. That can't possibly be the right thing to do because that's too simple to work. But in fact, that is the right way to get it to come together and to make it doable as well. Because if it's big and it feels like effort, it might feel like this has got to be it because that's what it requires. But at the end of the day, it's not sustainable.
It's not. And I mean, there's a couple of things, you know. Firstly, they always say do it in baby steps. There's a reason for that. When a baby starts to learn to walk, it doesn't get up one day and go, do you know what, I can do what everyone else is doing, I can walk. It doesn't. A baby, you know, if they're fortunate enough to be able to get up and be able to walk, you know, they learn by taking a couple of steps and then they fall over. They don't go, well, I can't do that then, can I? I don't know where everyone else can do it. Same with swimming, same with riding a bike. you keep getting back up, and then you hold on a little tighter. You hold on to the settee and you walk around the settee a bit, and you're a bit cautious. And before you know it, you're able to walk or crawl. Or so it's the same in life. Just take things slowly and calmly, and things will unfold. Every relationship I've had. Well, there was one other relationship in my life many years ago that was as calm as what Mike's and I were. But most, other relationships have been a bit, where you're trying to force things and you're trying to give too much, and all sorts of stuff. Like I say, a few toxic relationships. But now I realise that actually just being with somebody and just being is actually the answer. And my mum used to tell me that. My mum's been married 60 years next year. Do you know what I mean? And my mum used to just say that. And I used to think, oh, yeah, right, whatever, But it's true. Just be, and don't get all angst about stuff, Yeah, he loads the dishwasher after I've loaded it because he loads it a different way to I load it. Do you know what? If he wants to take it all out and reload it, Robin, fine with me. Crack on. Do you know what I mean? So I've got to the point now, I just leave it there, stacked by the dishwasher, and I say to him, you stack the dishwasher because you do it this way, and you always prefer to do it, so that's fine. Don't stress about it. It's funny. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
When we can have that openness and curiosity with a sense of humour, we do laugh and we can say, oh yeah, that's just how it is, and it's fine, and it is quite funny actually. But also you raised quite an important point there about, your mum had been saying, just be, and it'll all, your relationship, if you can just be together. But sometimes we have to do it ourselves. We have to go through that learning ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And it's like with the burnout as well, or whatever it is that we experience in our lives, these things come to, I believe, as lessons.
Yeah.
We have burnout because it's the body getting to the point of saying, right, if you're not going to stop, I'm going to stop you. Because you need to know that actually you have it all within. Because I think quite often we're burning out because we're striving because we're looking for something out there.
Yeah, pushing the boundaries, aren't we?
Yeah, and we're seeking all the time, which is exhausting if we're searching all the time. But if we can just sit back and go, well, actually, I've got it.
Yeah.
And I can trust that it'll come out at the time that it needs to, for the resources, I have the access to the resources that I need when I need them. Same as, and we were talking about planting bulbs and things before, and I saw something which was related to business, but could relate to life as well, that we seem to sow the seed and expect the fruit the next day.
Absolutely, yeah.
But you have to sow the seed, let the plant grow, let it flower, and then it will produce fruit.
Yeah, that's it.
So these things take time in their season.
Yeah, everything has a season, everything has a reason, and just let that flow. And once you get into that flow, life becomes easier. It does, it just becomes easier. And people say that, life is so simple. Yeah, because I make it that way. I don't push it. I don't force it. I don't, I don't know. That's just how I like to live my life. And if other people could take from that, then great,
And there are books out there about people who they get to their deathbed and they're asked the question, what would you tell somebody? What lessons have you learnt from life? And the idea that don't stress the small stuff, have more fun, enjoy your life more. Those are the important things. Your health is your wealth. Enjoying life is the important thing. Because as we all know now, time passes so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So to really enjoy it, really stop and smell the flowers and appreciate. And that's why I love nature, because you can get outdoors and just appreciate things so easily.
So easily. I don't appreciate the cold weather and the rain. I'm a bit of a fair weather person, my dad says. But, equally, I can sit inside and watch it. But then I watch movies and I do things like that because feed my soul or do my jigsaws or whatever. And then when it's nice, I go outside. But whatever you're doing, just keep it simple.
And well, in terms of movies, I'm a great fan of things that make us laugh, that keep our sense of humour, because it keeps our sense of perspective, and it's great for your immune system, the more that we can laugh.
Yeah, rom-coms, my favourite, just a silly old love film, do you know what I mean? Or things that make me laugh. stay away, you know, as much as you can from as negative stuff as you can, because that'll just feed your soul. Otherwise, it just gets in and stuff. So, yeah, just be happy.
So just to round us off then, what would, for this obviously being Stress Awareness Month, what would be your top tip for self-care in dealing with any stresses that we have in our lives?
Get out and smell the roses. That's it. Just, and that's not necessarily get outside. That's just, do you know what I mean? Just live for you. Just keep it simple, you know, and you'll find that the simpler you can make your life, the more you can strip back from your life, and the simpler you can make your life, the easier it will flow, the calmer you will feel, and you'll realize that actually life's to be lived. Just live it, enjoy it, love it, whatever that means for you.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Beverley. Some very wise words and there. Thank you very much for watching, those of you who've watched us live, and if you're watching the replay, just stick in a hashtag replay. And as we said earlier, if you have any comments or questions, or you'd like to get in touch, just pop something in the comments below, or you can contact either myself or Beverley directly. And I'll put some links in there as well. So have a great week, and I'll see you all for the guest slot next week. Bye for now.
Thank you, Robin. Thanks for the opportunity. Bye.
Bye.